Thank you very much. It's hello. It's great to do this for you. I'm hoping it's going to be really useful. Um, Shamanic Secret 7. I am a creator coach, been a creator of various things now, independent film director, because you can't you? Because of the digital technology. So I've always loved film, and finally I can do it with impunity. No one can stop me. Um, Also a lecturer, doing a PhD on change work in cinema. I've written haiku, write poems for my own purposes. Did get some haiku published many years ago. Written plays, that kind of thing. Multimedia business person, award winning in different ways. It's kind of like a mix. It's kind of a mix. Um, Shamanic Secret 7. You're not going to get woo woo here. This is not about um, potions and spells and weird ideas of what a shaman actually is, because I think really we've got a better a better idea than the ancient ways. Some of what I'm saying, it comes from this. You want to know more about this world? It's look at how people developed. We were only 10,000 years ago when we stopped traveling after the herd and settled down. And we settled down to grow wheat because an amazing thing happened where wheat suddenly needed us in between to store the seed and then plant out at the right time the following year. So that meant rather than traveling around, we need to stay there, look after the grain stores, eat some of it, make bread, amazing, very nutritious, really good. But society settled down. Previous to that, we'd been in tribes. There was no need for possessions because there were things you had to lug around. But once we settled down, you became interested in possessions. We became interested in the value of objects, and we needed a bit more control. We needed a sense of working with people and communicating with people that meant we all kind of organized and did the same thing. And Yuval Harari goes into all this, so please take a look at that. This is the kind of shamanism I'm talking about. And if you look at this fella, Professor Rogan Taylor, and a wonderful book, costs a few £100 if you can find a copy of this. The other one's bestseller and is now available as a picture book as well. But this one, specialist ownership these days. This is a lovely work that traces the history of the shaman. It creates a vision of the world where the shaman is still around in society, in that the roles of the shaman, which were always originally to explain the wild to us, that the role of that shaman is still here. When we settled down with wheat, the shaman became a doctor specialist, a religion specialist, historian specialist, entertainer specialist. All those things kind of split up. Initially, though, the role of the shaman is kind of what I would say the role of the creator now, in a wide sense, but we are there to explain the wild. The wild today is politics, meaning, structure of society, wars, the news, psychologies, trends, all of those kind of like, what are people about? And how do we get properly entertained of a night that we can really enjoy and feel good? How does feel good happen? Uh, and that's the role of the creator, the role of the shaman. So this presentation is not your whiffy waffy. This is straightforward policies, strategies, ideas and concepts, histories, and structuralisms, shall we say. So here's a marvelous shaman. Excuse me, the wonderful Salvador Dali. Most of the images on this presentation are Creative Commons. This one, I think, Pretty sure it's by Philippe Halsman. Look him up. He did a lot of great portraits and work with Salvador Dali. So we have a marvelous artist here who changes the way we all think and feel and understand the wildness of the world in a century that gave us mechanized warfare, atomic warfare. He gave us surrealism. He bent clocks and watches, and it was real, but it was bent, and it's like, what does that mean? And gave us this wonderful moustache as well. So he also gave us Chubba Chups, by the way. The creators, for me, the artists, it's not an exclusive thing. Creators would always grab some money. It's an important thing as an artist. Grab some cash, make some cash, enjoy your life. And part of this presentation here is about that idea. So I got 7 secrets. They're not secret. They are extracted from those 2 books. They are extracted from my work as an educator, lecturing, teaching, community work. I work at home ed youngsters as well these days. Love that. It's all just a mixture of change. I'm not a performer. I kind of half juggle. I eighth juggle. And I've done those kind of things. I've dallied in it. But I do like making the films, and I think I understand something about what that's about, as well as presenting, doing this kind of work. And change work. I'm a change work therapist. So I can do things like take people's phobias away from them in about 10 minutes to an hour, maybe. Lifelong phobias, OCD, anxiety, panic attacks, all those things I can get rid of. It's what you'd call magic, but it's a method. There are techniques and all the rest of it. So let's have a look. So I got these 7 things. Would be nice if it was a nice acronym. I was kind of working on that again. I used to workshops in this many years ago, and I had a thing called Creator College, and we used techniques. But here I just think, no, forget the acronym. Let's just. I don't want to change these words. These words seem right to me. One by one, let's go through them. Change. It's a huge one. I'm a change worker. The audience want to change. The shaman, you see, the shaman arrived because they were kind of born into it to some extent. But, if you could do, creators have always passed it on to their children, haven't they? Whether that's a music career, an acting career, we know that story. The audience want to change. People want to change. They want rid of the old. They want in with the new. People are about healing and transformation, and it's amazing. And they want to experience your change. So if you're a creator and an entrepreneur, let's bring into this. Creators and entrepreneurs, it's a very similar thought process. Massive on communication, and this idea of the shame and the role in society is all about that. So they want to experience your story, your idea of what your change was. Do a story later, but you have this sense of what your story is. It's your change. What changed you? So in the image here, I type into the, I think it was Pixabay, but others exist looking for an image. This was actually built into PowerPoint very nicely. Other slideshows makers are probably better than PowerPoint. So look, this is a fella who's looking like he's changed. He's got tattoos, so he's changed his skin. I don't think he wore that coat at school. And I presume he went to school because he's in society. He's got flying V guitars. He got a guitar, then he got this one. It's redolent of change, if you see what I mean. He got some shades. They're not his only shades. He's had dark ones, blue ones, red ones. That's what I'm saying is the important secret. That's why it's a secret. What's really going on here is somebody who's changed. They've even got different coloured shoelaces on. Witness change. Believe in change as an artist. Be the witness, present change, witness the journey you have made. That history. I work a lot with creators, obviously, and we as creators love to have our demons, don't we? We love our bad times. I think, well, learn what you've learned, keep that in the place you need for learning, but let's be flexible on your response allow yourself to remember the bad times, but you've learned from them. You don't have to feel those bad times right now. So you witness the journey that you've made. You don't repeat the blooming journey. You don't have to feel the moods and emotions of that journey. Obviously, with an actor, you can make the emotions up, but that isn't your game all the time as a creator. You might be a writer. You don't have to feel that pain. Just witness the journey that you've made. You don't need to feel it. I'm full of techniques. Get in touch for that kind of thing. So we're looking at, you might have a different name, the sense that, writers have different names, nom de plume. Artists might have a different name. Rappers have plenty of excellent names. You might have a new name. You have a journey. You might tour. Why don't you do touring? The fact that you can tour all the time. Here's somebody who changes. Here's somebody who's in a different town last night, in a different town the night before that. Last week they were in a different country. This is a superb change artist. Amazing. So you tour, you move, you do different things. You bring out singles, you bring out albums, you bring out new books, new artworks, because you're changing and moving, and show some emotion. There's a song about that. But you don't have to feel that emotion in that way, but you want to show it. You want to be fluid in your ways. Have a range of emotions that you present, not a newsreader where your role is to be a specific whatever. You are a human, and the audience want to change and experience your change. So have a range of emotions that you can work with. If you're too angry and you get sweary when you're angry, then you need to work on that and change that a little bit and do anger in a different way that's shareable, shall we say. But feel free to be angry, for goodness sake. Have that emotion and feel the sadness or whatever. But if it's getting in your way, stopping you from being flexible, hey, let's deal with that as a change worker. So that's change. That's your big shaman secret one. Bang. It's all about change. And I hope already you're getting a sense that when you look at the world like this and look at your role as an artist like this, you begin to understand things, and you look at the kind of artists that you like and hopefully it starts to make sense. Show your pleasure. Just have that ecstasy in your life and show that you have experienced ecstasy. Even the ones of us that revel in the miserable, we only know it's so miserable because we've experienced beautiful ecstasy and pleasure, and we share the misery in comparison to that. Presumably, hence, I'm thinking, if I go Charles Bukowski and all the drugs things, so all those kind of miserable, depressed, fed up people, not functioning at all very well. But we do get a sense, well, hey, they get out of their heads and feel that kind of thing. But drugs ain't the only ecstasy. Ecstasy ain't the only drug either. It's not about the drugs. This is an old-fashioned mythological thing that kills a lot of us. So stop it. There's no need for it. You don't die of ignorance. You die of wisdom. You die of being full of life. So let's have this pleasure in place. Show your pleasure. And then you get this today, don't you? Many of us are strong and weightlifters and cyclists, and we travel the world and climb mountains and do amazing feats of stuff. Even yoga has turned into very much a physical jerks kind of thing, as we show our ecstasy in the body in that kind of commodified way that they do these days. Show your pleasure. Now bring back heaven with you. This is the other side of ecstasy, the other side, otherness. You can't buy that. You can't buy that feeling, that of otherness. Now, I want you to show your style, your spirit, your otherworldliness. Not all the time. Otherworldliness shown all the time is not otherworldliness. It's simply a fashion and a weird sort of statement. Otherworldliness is not otherworldliness. It's a spirit, the sense that you're bringing back heaven from the other side. The big thing with the shaman, you see, was that you would be able to cheat death. If you can cheat death, brilliant. You can be shaman because look, they bury themselves in a clay pot for 3 weeks and they're still alive, for goodness sake. How on earth? They've been underground, buried. They've been through the fires. They can walk over those embers. They can do all kinds of amazing feats. Um, because they're a shaman, they understand death and they can come back. So if I'm sick, I want you because you know what all this game is about. So you bring back the other side, and that's what the shaman always did, had that secret knowledge. Hey, a lot of it's tricks. Don't get all mystical about people, you know, saving themselves from death. They were scientists. They would test the potions, and over time they would keep and retain that knowledge, pass it on to the next one with the magic tricks and the showmanship, the shamanship, the showmanship. How to do it all. Part of the secret schooling of being a shaman. And some of it was some very good skills. Show that ecstasy, show that otherness, that sense that you've seen things that they haven't. To get a body like this, you've been through things that other people won't get. You know, you don't. It's not about drugs. Don't get this shamanic, mythological nonsense. It's about structures of communication, structures of society. Social. It's a creative socialism in a sense. It's how the creators work. You see, the shamanic, there would always be in the group, the shaman. You're the shaman in your family, in your group of friends. If you're not, you know who is. You may be a group of shaman, and one of you may be shamanic to that tribe that looks after you and does all the magic stuff for you. Every group has one, every tribe has one, all the communities, all the genres, they all have them. This is the role to go for as a creator, to find your place. Hey, if you got no problem, there's no problem. Don't come here to just ignore all this. It doesn't matter. I say the process still goes on. Yuval Harari, I think, would agree with me. I was chatting with Professor Taylor, and it's like, yeah. So, delight in life. Come on, have some delight in life, even if you're miserable. So, control nature. Now, you see that guitar there? That's kind of like the equivalent of what the shaman would have. What would a shaman have? They would have a tree, they'd have a rock, they'd have a jingle jangle that they'd made. With the right skills, you pay the bills. It's the same thing today. That guitar be useless in my hands, but be an amazing thing with somebody else. I could probably bash down a hedge with it or something like that once. It wasn't really built for that. So the magic is in controlling something. So as a creator, control, know your skill, control your stuff, do it well, control the space around you. This is where your lights come in. For always and ever, theatre has wanted to make the light show, make the control of the space. This is the show. We do the same in film, we do the same in music. You control the reverbs to control that space, control the nature. You're basically doing the impossible, okay? You've just got to do the impossible thing to set the mood. It's the magician. It's the absolute magician. Now, take this back to the original shaman. You'd be in the cave. You'd get the right side of the fire so you can project your shadow. And you had a thing called paleo cinema, potentially. You want to Google paleo camera and look all about it, paleo-camera. Because you got this wonderful effect of the camera obscura coming through. So you have that onto your cave walls from outside, like a moving image projected. It's amazing. Put some mates out there, dressed up as animals and careering around the place. You got a hell of a show going on. Really quite magical. It's a great phase, isn't it? It's a great phrase. You got this whole thing of the magic. Oh, it's magical. It's just a magical experience. It's a wonderful way of describing what you do. So skills pay the bills. It's about getting that skill to get that control. But this is where that stuff comes from. It's a similar feeling, I imagine, when you see anyone who's super skilled, or the technicians, or the craftspeople, of course. There's a wonder in that skill, the ability of somebody else, some human, to dexterously control some amazing thing. And that's the same with ideas. It's the same with words. It's the same nature.
that you must propagate yourself and show that you can do it. So when you get chance, add colour, control that lighting, create the volume in the space that you need to make a magical theatre in whatever art form it is. And it's one of the reasons why you should engage the digital. Engage the digital and learn that magic. Just as when the shaman would go with the crowd, go with the tribe, find a new spot, you work with whatever is there and you make it work. Okay. This one's very secret. I do like this one. It's taken me a long time to understand it, and it's one that I forget all the time. Hey, all of this is not like me being a proficient expert or something like that. You know, I'm a researcher as much as a performer in that way. Look at that face. That's a scary face, isn't it? Wow, scary. Now, this is not a demon. You would think protection, like you think of the whiffy-waffy meme peddlers. They want to protect you from the badness of the world and all that kind of thing. And they'll protect you from demons. But this is the trick. You got to switch that. That isn't how it is actually working in kind of real life. Remember the shaman. Remember a tribe, going on some mammoth hunt. Loses people you really, really love, or they're in pain, bloody screaming for hours and hours and hours before they die horribly, or they've eaten something wrong, or they fall down. It's an awful kind of pre-medical age. Crikey, the diseases and awful things that would befall us. So you get injured by this mammoth. You want some kind of sense that somebody around here knows what they're doing. Is there anyone here who can help? And this is where the shaman comes in. Later, when we all settled down to grow our wheat 10,000 years ago, sort of changed. And doctors would study and hold bigger libraries and bigger sets of knowledge, and they would meet other centres around the world of people who had other knowledges, and it would all build. But when you're just like travelling around, well, what built us, what works for humans, is that there's somebody you can look to. And don't we copy that today? You go to the doctor, you go to the therapist, you go to the healer, who you expect to have this special power. Now, we have it as well as creators. We have that feel-good thing. I mean, in some doctors can prescribe various activities, can't they? They can prescribe the arts and painting and writing and music and all these lovely things that help us feel good. And medicines are, 40% made up and 60% effective. Or is it 60% placebo and 40% effective? Doesn't matter. It's a mix, and it's an accepted mix that our feelings and our approach to what's going on is what makes the difference. Anyway, let's get back to this protect. So what are we protecting from? We're protecting from the evil spirits. And today, what are those evil spirits? Politics, attitudes, bad attitudes, unhelpful beliefs, conspiracies, all that kind of nonsense. So if you can, do it with a bit of humour, do it with a bit of entertainment, because you've got to entertain them. Now, this is the switcheroo. This is the secret I mentioned at the beginning of this section. If you take anything from this, take this bit. You're entertaining the evil spirits. You're not entertaining the audience. Now, the reason this scary mask is on screen is because that's a god. This is a god. It's a god in Hinduism. It's a god in Buddhism. It's one of the big Eastern sort of deities that's there scaring away evil spirits. And you do it by entertaining them. You do it by tricking them, by making them laugh. You work with it. You play with them. You lead them here. You lead them there. You dance with them. Hear this language, this play, this dance. You paint them in a different light. You shine different lights on them. You play music over them. You do anything you want to protect your audience by entertaining the evil spirits. Now, if that ain't a secret, wow. Because if you try and entertain the audience, where are you going with that? There's no point entertaining the audience. They're already there. They don't need entertaining. They need some solace. They need protection. Your job, Entertain those ideas. Entertain the thoughts. Entertain the feelings. Entertain the attitudes. Play, work, dance, create, manipulate, sculpt, colour them differently. You see what I mean? That's how you protect your audience, your tribe, your people. I heard an interesting fact the other day. About a fifth, 20% of Beatles songs have the weather mentioned in them. Now, I don't know how that relates to other pop songs, but yeah, it's fantastic. All about the weather, controlling nature. Right, stories. What stories do they have, eh? You are the historian. This is why the shaman knows their stuff. They know the texts. You know your community's story. You know the history of your art. You know the forms. You know the facts about it. You know the secret texts about it. You know the anecdotes. You know what so-and-so said because you actually read the book, not just saw the Twitter thing and shared it. You actually had a look and read it. A bit like this. You're listening to this. And from this, good luck in getting the Death and Resurrection show. But on the other hand, you know, the Harari's great fun. And get involved. It's good stuff. You're that person. The shaman is that person who knows the facts, who knows the tunes. You know, think of the folk musicians. Crikey, they bang. There's another one. Bang, there's another one. They know the stuff. The DJs know their stuff. They know their tunes. You can talk for hours with them and they will know more than you do. And that's the point. That's what's so marvellous about being an artist, being a creator. This is part of your role to hold the story. Now, why is that so? Because when you're traveling bunch of people and you get to that mountain and you go over there and like, where's the herd? It's supposed to be a herd passing through this green valley. We're all a bit hungry. We're going to starve. Great. The shaman can do a dance. The shaman can do a song. And, you know, we got the idea, oh, that would entertain everybody. Fine. But we just did that, didn't we? You're entertaining the demons, keeping them from stopping the herd coming. But the thing here with a story is because the shaman knows a song or a dance or a performance about the herd, this is memory. This is knowledge. This is how it goes. So the shaman can remember, yeah, well, it's in the song, isn't it? It's in the poem. It's in the secret text. You know, the herd appear when the yellow leaves do. Oh, didn't really pay much attention to that line now, but now it makes sense to me in this situation because the leaves haven't come out, the blossom hasn't come out. Let's wait. We'll stay here. And that's life or death, as opposed to travelling somewhere else where there isn't food and the herd did pass by and you missed it because you didn't wait for the yellow leaves. This is the shaman looking after the tribe with culture. Culture. All the cool stuff, all the meanings. You've got the facts. You know what you're on about. And that is so important. So know your stuff. Do the night classes, do the YouTube videos, explore further, do college, get the qualifications, more on that later. Get to uni, do the stuff. Go on the courses, go meet these people, go do training, go do workshops. That's enough. I'm not recommending all that stuff for you. They might not fit you for various other reasons, or if things do fit you, then grab it both hands. Be the historian, be the one with the story. Now, what's this red carpet doing? This red carpet is because where does that story come from? Remember, we go back. What was the shaman? They cheat death. They've been to the other side, the other worldliness, and they return. And the shaman, the creator today, does the same thing. They come back from the red carpet, or the yellow brick road then. Same idea, I guess. They come back from the red carpet and they tell us the stories. Now think of the shaman on all the chat shows, all these celebrities. They're telling stories. Now, there's a difference. There's a difference because some of them only tell stories that apply to them making the film or making the movie. And we're never going to be making that movie. It doesn't really mean much to us. We'll have a laugh, but it's not enriching me. But if the actor starts talking about things that I can then use in my community, that's fantastic. You know, if the actor's saying something about a story they had from this, he learned this, or she learned that, or she guessed around this idea, and it means something to me. Like, you could have a story about kind of, doing a scene with somebody, and she's looking at him and he's looking at her, and all this kind of thing, and they learnt how to not blink, and they told us that could be useful. But on the other hand, if they just say, oh, we just stared at each other for 8 hours, that's not useful, because in our world, that's not useful. Staring at each other doesn't work. It's not a good thing to do. But, if they taught you how to stare at somebody in some menacing way that scared them off, it might be quite a useful, protective thing. Is that shaman giving you stuff you can use in your community, or are they just blathering on about what they saw on the other side of the world, on the other side of their industry, of the other side of their knowledge? That isn't the shaman way. The shaman way is to go to the other side, come back and share the stories from the other side, but share the stories that mean something to us. Play the drums and the beat that we can dance to, not just the drums and the beat from that amazing workshop that you did over there. That's the point. So what's this other picture here? The yin-yang, male, female, negative, positive, all of that kind of thing mixed up together. Yin-yang, go Google it. Now around it is sets of 3 lines, a full line or a broken line. Gives you a bunch of different combinations of what are called trigrams. One of these can be combined with another one of these to make a hexagram. Mathematically, it gives you 64 different variations based on the idea of a line being closed or unclosed. Kind of digital, 64-bit kind of idea. This is the first book, or the oldest book, humans have discovered. It's called the I Ching, spelt with an I and Ching. And you can do this online if you want, or you can get the book. But you can do it online, because what you do online is you simply have a question in your mind. And you think of the question, hit the button, it will randomize yourself one of the 64 hexagram answers. Or you can throw coins, or you can throw sticks to the ground. And it's a bit like the tarot, and a bit like divination from tea leaves, perhaps, and all that kind of divination text is what it's known as. Now, my point here is that this is a shaman story. This is not narrative as such. We're used to story being a narrative. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. All well and good. We're used to fairy tales. We're used to the myths of ancient times. And that kind of story. Fair enough in terms of what they mean and what they're meant to mean. But we're also here talking about a world. And the shaman creates the world that the audience, in a sense, cast into. This is the other meaning of stories. There's a whole other... this is an Eastern thing, the I Ching, old Chinese thing. And Chinese art will have a picture, and you get the story bang in one go from that picture with all the different elements of the picture. Whereas a Western art would tend to be more linear, more narrative, and get a sense of all the different elements one after another. Eastern art has a very different way of looking at the world. The I Ching creates a system that you then, like Bob Dylan's song, so you kind of listen to it. What the hell is it about? It's lovely. It's great. What the hell is it about? It just means something to you. You can ask it any question you want. All the great songs, pop songs, the lyrics, the art, the picture, you ask it something that means something to you. And if you've built, as a shaman, a perfect system, a perfect world, that person will get an answer back. This is the art of the shaman. It's not the narrative thing. Now, you probably maybe you've heard of the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, and the hero myths. And this would be the kind of thing I'd expect people into shamanism and myths and fairy tales and all that to know about. It's used by Hollywood. Hollywood use it today. The stuff I'm talking about isn't ancient. This is modern techniques used often in superhero films, of course, but every film comes out with this hero story. The Hollywood people asked someone to write this up. Can you write up what the heck this hero's journey is that Joseph Campbell wrote about just after World War II? He was a friend of Carl Jung's, and what is all this stuff? Because apparently George Lucas used it for Star Wars, and they've kind of been playing with it, and now bang, 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 every film follows this hero's journey, which is wonderful, wonderful narrative, wonderful idea. Also links with the idea of the old Russian fairy tales that were identified in the 20s as having the same kind of characters, and you get a system from it. You get certain characters, just like the Joseph Campbell. You get our hero setting off, and our hero essentially goes into Hades, goes into the underworld, and returns. So hey, this is the classic shamanic story of, oh, the big prover that you're the shaman. You can cheat death. You can go to the other side, like James Bond, and cheat death several times a movie and still survive. Wow, what an amazing magical being. So this is the hero's journey in a sense, and you have the characters along the way, but be warned, hey, read the book, by all means. Get one of the books, Story with 1,000 Faces, or something like that, Hero with 1,000 Faces. They're not quite the same. What they said about being the same, it's not really the same. They weren't really the same characters. The fairy tales, the Russian version of this whole idea of a standard set of myths, again, doesn't quite add up when you look at the detail. Doesn't add up at all. It's arguable, shall we say? It's discussion. This is all the game of narrative. Hey, if you're writing stories and making films, it's beautiful, beautiful structure, and that you want structure. I would offer you the structure of the I Ching, the casting link, the simple idea that you make something so perfect and holistic that a person can sit in it, ask a question that means so much to them, and they will get the answer from your work, from your communication, that it has an integrity similar to the I Ching. It's what a mathematician would call it, a perfect system.
Gifts, okay. Offer treasure. Be rich. Impress people. Here we got the red and green of Christmas, because of course Santa Claus, huge shamanic figure, goes to every house in the world delivering gifts. Wow, what's this gift thing? Now, it's in there, it's in these histories. As people travel, they go to a new tribe, they bring the gift. I have a mates rates for my therapy work, you know. I make sure there's an exchange. I'll do this, I want a bottle of red. It's fine, and people can buy a really expensive bottle of red, or 3 bottles of red. 1 bottle cheap red, I'm happy, because it's great, you know. You got a bottle of free red at some point, and do the work. But that exchange sets up a great relationship. And when I've done freebies without anything, it ain't the same. It just isn't the same. So there's a lovely psychology, I guess, to it. But be rich. Be rich in spirit. Be rich. And if you can't be rich in gifts and objects, well, you make them. You do stuff. You share. You do a sketch and you share that. You do a poem. I wrote you a poem. I wrote a song about it. There's loads of gifts you can do, and you can be rich and generous and impress people with that. And the other thing is, you can have a party, can't you? Be that person who has a party. That's a massive gift. If you can hold a party, the DJs, the people are great at just getting people together. Be rich. Give stuff away. Give stuff away. Give tunes away. Have a style where you go, hey, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I mean, I wouldn't do my service for free. I want an exchange. I mean, I want email addresses at times, and other times it's like a little payment. It's fine. But amongst my friends, amongst my people, amongst my peers, here's something free. Here's something free. And just remember to do that gift. But this is why you're doing the gift. You're not doing it as a lead magnet. Well, you are sometimes, I suppose. But you're doing it because of a shamanic principle that you're Santa Claus, an amazing shaman who has no ties to the objects, because you're going to get a new one. You travel. Hell, you're not anchored down growing wheat every year. Hey, you might be as well. It's not a problem. But your spirit, your ideas, your method of your strategy of your position in society is that you're this other thing, and you can give things away. So, you know, painters would give away the sketches. You might sell the real one, but the sketches up to it you could give away to people and put it around a frame, because that just gets you good at making frames, etc., etc. Or get some fireworks up in the sky, get a show on, invite people. Right, finally, win. Now this is a word, isn't it? I don't meet many artists or creators who want to win. We do exist. Doesn't usually help, does it? Some drive to win doesn't really help us in terms of experiencing the journey and developing the relationships with people that we love and all the rest of it. So we tended to drop win. I think it's a big mistake, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you could say achieve. You know, I've won a qualification there, won a certificate for turning up. You be the person that goes and wins things. There's some laurel leaves. We recognise those. Fantastic. I'm very, very proud of them from the first feature film. It's like it's a great start, but it's a winning thing, and it just means something to people. Be the one that wins, you know, be the best. There's nothing more shamanic than being the best. If you're an artist, be the best. Oh, crikey. Oh, we love the failed artist, don't we? I mean, Salvador Dali designed the Chupa Chups label. They'll do anything for money. Come on. Don't worry about it. Win. Win that gig. There, I've got cover versions. Do a cover version in a band. Do a better cover version than the original. Win it. You know, that's the motivation I'm seeking. That's the pressure of winning that I want. Not the bad stuff that cuts you off from people. The stuff that attaches you to people. The winning that people go, oh yeah, I can do that. The inspiring winning. Be a Superman. Be a Wonder Woman. Be a Batman. Somebody can fight COVID or something. You know, we all know what this is to be that real superhero. Rap battle's a wonderful creative model of like, you know, arguing on Twitter professionally, discussing academically. Argument is a process, a wonderful thing to do. Lots of people don't like it, of course, but I mean, argument in the sense of an approach to life, you know, is wonderful. The problem with the political thing is the political argument never has to evidence something, but you know, legal argument has legal precedent and case study and history. It's beautiful. And so is a, you know, a philosophical argument needs evidence and a logic, has a logic in it, and it's a wonderful thing to win. Win it by what you're saying with your work and your banter and your quote. Be able to come back witty with people is a wonderful winning thing. Engage in it as a shaman. Be that person. You can win. Hey, so there you go. Coming up to like 40 odd minutes now. Now I hope this has been reasonably pleasurable. I hope it hasn't been too long. This is available just as a flip book of some sort, or a PDF, so you can just go through it. But without the talking through it, it doesn't mean so much, I think. So here we go. Change, ecstasy, magic, protect, story, gifts, win. The 7 secret shamanic principles. This is how to behave. This is how to be a creator. This puts you in your neighborhood. Ooh, it just gives you sense amongst your friends. It gives you sense amongst your career, amongst, if you're working, in your employers and employees, your bosses. This gives you a role in that world. This is you, the creator. But this stuff is the good thing, you know. I'm just saying these are positive understandings of what the hell goes on, because you're the one who can paint a picture, write a poem, create a song, mix up some shapes and designs. You know, you do this amazing stuff that moves people, that people go, wow, this is how you do it. This is why you do it. This is the embedding of your shamanic practice. And there's been no magic animal spirits, no casting of potions, and all those kind of things which made sense in cultures that we're not in. We're in this culture and it's fine. We don't have to like rub bark into our tongues in order to produce a magic thing. We don't have to have the, the vibrations of the center of the earth rolling through us for 15 minutes a day, so I can pass on this crystal to you, etc., etc. You know, absolute nonsense. Well, it's poppycock, but it's great poppycock at the time, because it was all about, as you can see, hopefully get the idea what it was all about. But as science moves on and as skills move on, we're still shaman, we're still people, we still love our loved ones and they still love us. It's just the same bunch. We talk, communicate and do this, but this is how we fit in and how you fit in as a creator, as an artist, a musician, a writer, a comedian, a singer. This is your game. This is who you are. And enjoy it. I share this to, don't struggle, don't suffer, enjoy. So please get in touch with me and check out the website. There's other things. Make sure you're in the mailing list. You should be, I think, if you've seen this video, you should have been putting that in. Get in touch. There's more stuff like this, more things to help out and to support what you're doing. Enjoy. Thank you very much.